I want to take these next 5 minutes or so and dive in with you as the partner. First of all, and commend you. I want to, girl,
Thank you.
we see each other. And I think
Yeah.
that that's one of the most important things, that the most beautiful things that partners of any kind of sort of trauma we have together. We have this,
Yeah.
I see you, I got your back, just met you. I got your back.
Same.
There's,
Absolutely. Yeah.
there's something that I read recently about, and I'd love your take on it, because I had my own take on it.
Hmm.
This girl wrote this article about finding out her fiance had I think it was some sort of cancer. I'm not sure which.
Mm.
And he only had so many months to live.
I was like,
And
did I write this article?
no,
No.
no. Well, here's clearly not. Here's the
Yeah.
interesting, and this is why I want your position. I'd love to hear. I love different perspectives on things.
Yeah.
She told him, I can't do this. I want to
Yeah.
remain friends with you. I want to be best friends with you. I want to walk down this journey with you. I can't get married to you.
Right.
And the backlash that came at her post that,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
I went through the comments because I understand. Here's the
Yeah.
thing. I get it.
Yeah.
I sat there and went, wow, how brave of her to speak her truth and to say,
Mhm.
I cannot do this. Now,
Right.
the comment section was, you must not have loved him enough.
Oh
You must
God.
not have, like, the amount of comments that came post that were hateful and hurtful.
Vitriolic.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it was horrendous.
Yeah.
And I want your perspective on this. And I'd love to give mine. I've never talked about this article that I read.
Yeah. So it's funny. I was having lunch with a friend the other day, and it's only come up. It's no one ever asked me that in the moment, like ever at all, when Bryan was diagnosed. And fast forward 14 years ago, 2 days ago was our 14-year wedding anniversary.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
having,
Happy anniversary.
thank you. And I was like, so blessed to get this far. It's incredible. But like I mentioned before, I truly believe that, and for me to get through every day, I have to believe in something bigger. I'm
Yeah.
not religious, but I am wildly spiritual, because things have worked out in a way that I can't explain, and in a beautiful way with timing and all of it. But my journey, I'm convinced that I chose this journey for myself. And so when Bryan was diagnosed, there was not one moment, like not one, where it was like, oh shit, this isn't, how do I get out of here? No, not for 1 second. It was just me. I've always been a very determined person. I've always been kind of like, take the lead, take action. But I'm also wildly intuitive. And my intuition, my entire life, like my mom's always, she has it too. My grandma had it too, empathic and wildly intuitive. I would have known if this wasn't the right thing. But the moment I met Bryan a year and a half or 2 years prior to him getting diagnosed, like I knew something was different. I just knew, like I knew right away. It took him a few months to know, but that's okay. That's fine. But I think even going back to that, like we are like soulmates, and we're each other's person.
Yeah.
And this girl 2 days ago asked me, God, you didn't ever think about leaving him? And that's an okay question to ask, by all means.
Question.
But the fear in other people to not do that, I commend this girl for being like, I love you. I cannot do this with you, because having had gone through everything we've gone through, I hope nobody ever has to, because some of our friends think they know what we've gone through, and God bless, they have no idea. Not a clue. They don't know what my quiet moments are like. They don't know what my alone time is like. They don't know my panic attacks. Like, they don't know Bryan at his sickest. And to know that you cannot go into that with someone, let them go in the beginning, because they're going to need all of their energy to fight and go through this. And they need the people surrounding them who will really dive in deep with them. And if she could only do that on a surface level, that's okay. Like, nobody should hate on her for that at all. Like, people have too much hate in their hearts and jump to too many conclusions. That's my opinion.
I thank you, because I feel the same way, 100%. I looked at it like, wow, how strong of her to actually speak her truth now, versus to sit there that over the course of those many years. And then, and maybe it's also because I had something similar yet different happen to me, where he didn't speak his truth. Right. And so that took me down a journey that then how many years later, I was like, wait a second, wait, what? Like,
exactly.
Right. Yeah. So damn it, be honest, like freaking be honest from the beginning and say, look, I can do this, or this is only how much that I can give to this. Right. And that's okay. How is your daughter in all of this? We didn't touch on that, and I want to touch on that. How is your daughter in all of this?
So we're entering a new phase of her. I'll use the word enlightenment around this. She is an incredibly old soul. Like I knew this when I was pregnant with her. Like she is in this ride or die. Like she chose to be with us. Like it's funny. She talks about the old world that she came from all the time. Like she talks
How old
about
is she?
She'll be 7 in
Okay,
September.
perfect.
But she literally talks about where she came from and how she chose us as her parents. Like she has this narrative.
Love it.
It's wild. It's like, and I ask her tons of questions and write it down because as she gets older, she'll forget, but I'm like convinced that this is real. But I hid all of this from her the best that I could. You know, when we would basically prop Bryan up in his sickest during the pandemic, when he literally couldn't move, couldn't make it to the bathroom. Like I was, picking up number 2 off the floor, and dealing with her. I would just try to either, hey, grandma's here to help, grandpa's here to help, you're going to go to their house, or mommy and Tessa are going to go on adventures. And so I would literally take her out every weekend at like 6:30 in the morning, throw her in the stroller because Bryan was sleeping all day at that point in time. And I would just walk 9, 10, 11, 12 miles with her in the stroller. And we go through this neighborhood by our house, which is like the high rent district, and they're beautiful homes. And I would call it, I was actually very proud of myself because I'm like the mom moment. Sometimes you think you're going to be really creative and other times you actually are. And I was like, this is the Disney neighborhood. So there's a house with like a little turret. I'm like, it's Rapunzel's house. And there was a house that looked just like Belle's cottage in Beauty and the Beast. And so she's like, do you think we can go knock on the door and say hi to Belle? And so I just created these kind of alternative worlds for her and myself, to be honest, to keep her out. And then we would go back and have some daddy time. And then we would, when she's like properly exhausted, they would lay on the couch and watch a movie together. So like movies are their time, and they'll hold hands while they watch movies or snuggle up together. But like I'm the active parent and he's the like, let's watch a movie, let's read book. But now she's starting to ask questions. She's now asking like, am I going to get daddy's boo-boo? How long has daddy had his boo-boo? Where did it come from? Is it going to go away? He's got double vision right now, so he can't drive. And that's a new development. So part of why we want to do the brain biopsy. So, that also, it's not funny, but it has led him to throw up like indiscriminately sometimes. So like he's thrown up in public a few times in the last month or two. And he's like Kyle in South Park, who like sees the girl and is just like, what? And like, it's not cute and there's nothing you can do about it. But she actually is starting to have little panic attacks around it because she thinks she's going to get sick. So I'm having to calm her energy and assure her that she's okay, while also assuring her that he's okay, and really pushing myself out of that. Like, I will be okay, but this is not the time to take care of myself. Do you know what I mean? Like in that moment.
Yeah.
But that's a new struggle for me. Like, how do I talk to my daughter, who's very fucking smart? Like, she's fucking smart.
Yeah.
And she's not stupid, but she doesn't know it's cancer. She doesn't know it's a tumor. She does not know any of this language. Like, we tell her as much as she needs to know, but we also keep the love in our family wildly strong.
Yeah, you're doing exactly what my last podcast episode last week was about. When I went through this trauma with my kids, it was finding the things that they're passionate about, and then allowing them to thrive in those areas even more. Like, use your gift, thrive in your gift.
Yes.
Use this as an opportunity to dive even more into that and to become who you also are intended to be outside of what is happening within this family.
Totally. I do want to clarify really fast, because I realized I just said that's not the time to take care of myself. I want to be very, very clear. Like this year, like I call them the between periods, like when Bryan's not on medication or when he's well. This year in particular has been a wonderful between period, because like as of January 1st, I was like, I'm completely dedicating this year to myself.
Good for you.
Stop drinking alcohol, stop caffeine. I've been biohacking my way through the year. Like bar method and tennis are my best friends. Like if I cannot do those things, I'm of no use to anyone else. Like gone mostly plant-based. I'm like that weirdo that you read about, but like it has literally saved me in so many ways. It sounds similar to you. It's you have to take care of yourself, because God knows the anxiety that comes along with something like this is next level.
Yeah, I cleared my schedule for the rest of the year. And my cousin and I were just talking. He said, you cleared your schedule? How'd you do that? And I said, I looked at my calendar and I went, fuck this shit.
Fuck this shit. No, I'm done. That's right.
I said,
that's right.
I literally said to last year was hard for me. I've had a very difficult 2021, 2022.
Yes.
And with the past, I mean, just so much stuff that came my way.
Yeah.
And it happens. We go through those periods. And finally, I just looked at my schedule and I'm like, wait a second here. I don't want to, I need to, as much as I love my work, I even put my retreats aside. I said, I need to be taking care of me right now because it's time. It's time. And that's okay. Because the thing that taking care of you does is that it opens yourself up to the things that you didn't realize were there. Right. Yes. Because if your plate is full, how do you know if you're going to like asparagus if asparagus isn't on your plate?
That's exactly right.
Right. So for me, it was, let's clear as much as I can off my plate and then allow other things to come in that otherwise wouldn't be able to come in. And so that's where I'm at. And I like it.
I'm so proud of you. That's amazing.
Thank you. I'm excited.
I've done that with my career a bit too, which is interesting.
Well, I'm doing it with my career too. But personal and professional.
But like the asparagus, like you said, it's incredible. Like I always was like more, bigger, better, like C-suite. Let's get all the way up here, more equity, more money, more responsibility, more title, more teams. Oh my God, how exhausting is that?
It's exhausting.
It's more family, more health, more happiness, more love, more boundaries,
more joy.
That's it. And it's like, it's so funny to think about like the way that I'm raising my daughter, the way that I'm doing, obviously Bryan and I together, but my specific take is like, I'm teaching her all this shit now. Yeah. I'm like, you're not competing against anybody except yourself. So like your competition is what makes you happy. I said, what lights your heart on fire? She's like, no, mommy, if I light my heart on fire, I'll die. I was like, okay, okay, fair. But like, what lights you up? And I was like, and I can't tell you what that is. Like we talked about this 2 nights ago. Like you will know, like your tummy will tell you, your heart will tell you, your brain will tell you what lights you up. What will you love? I was like, and it doesn't matter what anyone else loves. It's what you love. But that's how I'm living life right now.
It's partner to partner. This is why I love these conversations. And this is a part of it, right? It's like, I remember a couple of days ago, somebody asked me, they said, so you just cut your team back? I said, I did. And they said, how does it feel? And I go, are you kidding me? Oh. I loved my team. Don't get me wrong. Love. And I needed to. And so it's this lightness that I'm feeling right now that I didn't have. It's how my podcast got on iHeartRadio. It wouldn't have had I not decided, okay, wait a second, we need to shift. Like we need to take a pivot. And now taking this pivot, it opens up to so many different things that you never, ever imagined. Yeah. The depth of the shit that we have gone through is also the amount of rising that we can have on the other side.
Oh my God.
And so,
absolutely.
Right. And so like when we go through this trauma, we deepen so much into the earth that then we can grow so much on the other side if we allow ourselves to do that.
Yeah.
You have to water yourself, people. You have to water yourself. You got to give yourself that space and time to really allow the nutrients to come in, whatever that is, and then the growth will happen.
Yes. And also like, you got to give up control.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a very type A person. I always have been. Like people make fun of me and that's okay. I own it. Like I'm organized. I'm a go-getter. I do it. I have now completely, I'd say 90%, which is a really big deal for me. I have let go and let spirit, let go and let universe, like let God, whatever. Again, not religious, but like in my worst moments, or like, I have no idea what to do. Like this brain biopsy, it's completely out of our hands, completely. It's incredible we can do it. But I had a little quiet moment with myself yesterday, and I try to have these really often where I'm like, I'll turn it over to you.
Yep.
Wherever you is, because that, like, just letting that go, like bring it back to us in our highest good. I know that you're not here to hurt us. I know that everything always works out, but like, my human brain can only comprehend so much. I can only imagine so much. Like to your point about the asparagus, like if you don't have room to experience it, you don't know if it's going to come in. I have no idea where this can lead us to, incredibly or terribly. I'm not going to go with the terrible side, but I'm also not going to sit and be like freaked out all the time. I'm going to let go of that control, and I'm going to let the universe do its thing, because it already has for the past 14 years.
I fucking love you. I do want to end with one. Let's do this. Let's go girlfriend to girlfriend on this one. I want you to share a moment that touched you so much during this journey, if it was the moment, any moment that just where it gave you hope and it gave you that truth, that moment of slowdown where you went, oh, wow, okay, I'm not in this alone.
One was certainly like the one that Bryan mentioned earlier before, which was so long ago during that Employee Appreciation Day, words are hard, day at Cedar Sinai, when literally like the diamond out of this ring fell out. And it turns out it fell out in the radiation center downstairs over like where I was getting water at the Sparklet station. And it literally fell onto the grate at the very bottom of it, got wedged in the grate, and a woman, nurse, stepped on it with her shoe. And it got stuck in the shoe, and she realized there was something hard like a rock in her shoe, and turned it upside down and found it. That was downstairs. We were upstairs, like panicking. I had a habit of doing this with my diamond because we were just engaged, and actually maybe we're married, doesn't matter. But this woman literally appeared out of nowhere as I'm panicking, but I didn't want to say out loud, like Bryan had said, oh, I lost my ring. I didn't want to say that to a stranger. Oh, there's a 2-carat diamond on the ground somewhere. Let's have a race. But I was clearly distraught. And this woman came out of nowhere, and just showed up in my face and all these people and was like, it's going to turn out okay. And I like turned away and looked back. She was gone, like disappeared. I will give that one. And another one is a moment. It's not a pretty moment, but I had an absolute breakdown in our backyard, like beyond. Like there's a point with this, and I'm sure you've had the same, where like, I don't know if people expect when you cry so hard that like something's going to happen at the end, but like I've gotten to the point where like you cry and cry and cry and cry and cry, and like there's just nothing left. Mm-hmm. There's no more cry. And you're like, what happens after the depth of this cry? But I was literally in my backyard, little patio area, and I just was screaming to the heavens. I was like, fuck the neighbors. I don't give a shit. Like, I can't do this. And I was like, help, 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 help. I'm sure someone thought that I was like, literally needed help, but I just completely freaked out and broke down in the midst of the pandemic, with him dying in front of my face and my daughter, homeschooling her, and this work and all of it. And my own mental health was completely breaking down. And that was the moment I just had this sense. After that, I don't know what washed over me, but it was this sense of complete calm. Like, it's all out of me. It was this weird peace. And it was just like, okay. Like, I just knew, like, when you know, and I just like let it all out. I let it all out. And there was just this, like, almost like I took Valium once in my life, and it did this weird thing where it just took all of the emotion out of me and left this sense of peace, which is why I did not take it again, because I wanted it all the time when Bryan was very sick. But that moment was like, no, remember, it's gonna be okay. And you're allowed to have these moments, and it's gonna work out. Even if it doesn't work out and he doesn't survive, as long as I want him to the end of our days, there will be something else.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that too. Which, I'm obviously not anywhere near ready to go there, but my brain goes there all the time. But it was a dark, dark, dark moment, but also one that really was poignant for me.
Stars can't shine unless there's darkness.
You got it, girl.
I mean, that's the way it is. I'll share mine with you. There's a tool actually that I encourage everybody to use, and I teach this to my clients. When you're going into those crying moments, imagine your heart's like a sponge, and you're wringing out your heart, and you want it to go. You want to wring it until there's nothing left.
Love that.
When you let it go, just like a sponge, it comes back out, and you're filling it with love, peace, freedom. And, quite honestly, a lot of joy as well, a lot of honoring the fact that you just went through that crying moment, because you have to honor your heart experiences. Right. Yeah. And so I used to do that all the time. I would just, if I'd fall to my knees crying on a run, whatever it was, I would just allow myself to go there and imagine my heart's just ringing out, and I'd fill it back up with breath and love and peace.
You mentioned at the very beginning of this, like, this is going to help so many people, that honestly, that just occurred to me, that the amount of people, honestly, it's in the hundreds at this point in time, that have either sent strangers to us or have come to us themselves, and the conversations that we will always have with, it doesn't matter who they are, where they are in the world, what time zone they're on. Like, I will pick up the phone, we'll do Zoom with a stranger we've never met, to just help them in any way as they start to go through this journey. that to me knows that that is absolutely part of our journey. And one of the reasons that we're here on earth to do this type of work. And the older I get and the more we've been through this, the more I know that for sure. Yeah. It's just, that to me is everything to help give anyone hope in the most of the deepest fears.
Well, the cool thing here is this, and I want to tap into this before we jump off. We have had those people, and I'm going to share mine with you, that have stepped into our life, into our journey. And I call them angels. They're like, I'm also spiritual, religious. They're little angels that come in, and they are there to give us that. It's this crossing of path, crossing of light. They shine the light in your darkness in that moment where you feel like I can't go any further. Yeah. And I had that happen during the depth of mine. I pulled over on the road. I was driving to, I'm sure, one of my son's basketball, water polo matches, something. Mm-hmm. And I lost my shit and I couldn't drive. I literally was like crying profusely. And it always happened at this one intersection. And I don't know why that is. I got into a car accident in that intersection. Yeah. It's always in that intersection. So now I'm careful when I go through it. And I pulled over, and there was this big empty parking lot at the mall. It was actually at the mall. And I pulled in to where there was no one on purpose. Yeah. I didn't want to be around anybody. I just wanted that spot by myself. And then what happened? This older woman and her daughter pulled in not too far from me. Mm-hmm. She got out of her car. She saw me crying in the front seat. I tried to hide my tears. Mm-hmm. She knocked on my window. I rolled it down, and she looked at me, and she said, are you okay? She asked me, are you okay? And I said, I'm okay. I'm okay. And I'll never forget it. She looked me in the eyes and she said, you are not alone. You are not alone. And she said, I want to pray with you. That's me. She said, I want to pray with you. And I said, okay. Mm-hmm. And so she gave me this prayer. She said this prayer, and she walked away. That was it. That was it. You're going to be fine. She walked away. And that was all I needed. And I will never forget that moment. Here's the thing, though. We have been learners in this lifetime, you and I. Yeah. We have been students, and we're forever students because this is how we live our life. Mm-hmm. The beautiful thing about being a student is that you ultimately become not only the teacher, but a professor. Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. You really do. And so now we are also those people that woman was for us, both the woman for you and the woman for me. And we never will know how special it is to those people that we touched. No, we have no idea. No. And that's okay. You release that as well. That's not why we don't do it to get we don't do it for the no, it's just so, or the ego. It's nothing like so that. Incredible. It's so incredible what it does. And we just do it naturally, you just do it naturally. Wherever we can. Yes. And then the beautiful thing is that it always comes back to us full. Also, like in giving, we receive. It comes back to us because in those moments of anxiety that you are going to be, perhaps it's going to be there with you when you're going through this. I'm there with you. Yeah. Well, I'm not there with you. All these people whose lives you touched, they're with you. That's the climbing of the summit. You're on top of that summit, and you have no idea how many people are truly there with you at that same time. Yes. When you're also continuing to go through those moments, because you're going to continue to rise too, and you're going to continue to give back. And you are that angel in so many people's lives right now. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I definitely feel my life going in that direction. It's very interesting. Like totally. We say we have 2 or 3 different careers in our lives, and I can absolutely feel my life shifting where my story is one that I need to focus on. And like, whether it's through a book or I'm also like, as I talk to you and we'll do a flippy, starting my own podcast, like What Nobody Tells Us, around these things to specifically help other people going through whatever it might be, and give them the ins and outs about how to get through it and what to do, and to give friends and family the opportunity to actually start a conversation with someone and not fade into the shadows because it's so awkward or they're afraid. Because losing people that you love the most because they're uncomfortable and don't know what to do is one of the most painful parts of this process. Well, I'm excited to come onto your podcast as well. So thank you for having this conversation with me and then allowing me to come on and have it with you. Absolutely. So I want to end this because I know you and I also have tight schedules that have actually already gone over. I know. Sorry about that. Is there anything that you would love to leave with our listeners?
I would say for a friend of mine just got diagnosed with cancer, and actually she introduced me to another friend who just got diagnosed with a brain tumor. And she was like, what do I do? What do I do? Oh my God. And I said, you're going to learn to live with cancer. You're not going to die from cancer. Like learn to live with the thing that you're dealing with. Like, don't be, fear is so easy just to have it take over your body, but like you are not alone. Like you mentioned, do not give into the fear. Like embrace this and whatever this is going to mean for you. And it's going to be a journey, but like learn to live. Like there's going to be a new normal. Embrace everything. And also like every tiny moment matters. Like stop and smell those roses. Like the colors have never, and it sounds so trite, but the colors in the world have never been so beautiful. The sky is so blue. The flowers are so vibrant. Look at the green of the grass. Like pay attention to how beautiful this world is. Every minute detail is a miracle, and miracles happen. So don't ever give up.
Girl, fucking love you.
I fucking love you.
This is what I love about this journey is that I would meet this many super cool people had I not been on it. I mean, what a blessing this is.
It's incredible. Incredible.
Gratitude.
Thank you so much.
Where do you live? I know that I shouldn't be asking this publicly, but I am, because I really
You're in LA.
You're in LA too. You and I. Okay, let's.
Oh, we're getting together. Done.
That's it. That's it. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for being on. I absolutely appreciate you. And I'm so grateful for your time, and go hug Bryan a million times for me.
I will. And vice versa.
We're all with you.
A big giant one also.
And we are all with you in all of those hard moments and lifting you up too. So,
thank you. And with you.
You.
Oh, the best.
Thank you. Mwah. So excited to know you.